The full list of skills were just released for both archer commanders, Boudica Prime and Henry V. These commanders are going to be game-changing. Archer commanders, exactly what I thought they would be, and although I am obviously traveling with none of the equipment I would actually need to make a high production value video, we're just going to make a video anyways, because otherwise I'm not going to be able to cover this for another couple days. So let's start by talking about Boudica. Boudica Prime is going to be exactly what I thought the new archers needed for the open field. She is an archer and skill tree commander with versatility as well. Now, versatility does nothing for you, but I hope she will be on the Wheel of Fortune because everyone is going to want to use her. She does 2,300 damage factor and increases the skill damage taken by the target by 35%. Oh, and reduces the target's march speed by 30% for 3 seconds. Boudica Prime is insane. This alone is so strong. People use Tamaris, even though she's otherwise just an okay commander, because making a target take more skill damage is absolutely nuts. Now, technically, the Boudica skill damage taken debuff will stack with Tamaris's debuff, so that is kind of insane. And it would also stack with Gilgamesh's skill damage taken debuff. So archers have a lot of ways to make targets take a ton of skill damage, but the march speed manipulation is also very good for the open field. Continuing on, archer units attack increased by 30% and their march speed boosted by 10%. Strong. That's what you want in the open field. Attack, maybe not so much, but in troops led by Boudica's archer units, defense increases by 30%, when the troop has fewer than 80% of units remaining. I don't know if this is saying if you have all archers or just the archers are influenced here, but when you have less than 80% of units remaining, your archers are going to have 30% more defense. This is very good for the open field. Once you start getting wrecked, you get more tanky. Perfect. Archers really need tanky stats in order to survive with all the calves running around that focus them. Up next, reduces skill damage taken by troops by 35% while on the map. This is amazing. This is the sort of things that you just really want to see on open field commanders because there's so much AoE damage. When taking skill damage, damage for the troop's next normal attack has a 50% chance to increase your normal attack by 25% and a 25% to increase your normal attack damage by 50%. Can trigger once every 7 seconds. You know, Boudica's original kit has an ability kind of like this, although in her original kit, it boosts all damage, which is way better. This is boosting your normal attack damage, which includes counterattack. So if you are getting swarmed, I mean, there is a chance here to enhance your way to sort of protect yourself and deal damage to everybody that's hitting you. But for the most part, it's going to be a small, mostly unnoticeable, I think, amount of extra damage boost here. I really feel like this skill is all about the skill damage taken reduction. And the second part of this is just paying homage to the original Boudica kit. The next skill, increase damage dealt by archers by 10%. All damage dealt is always good, but this next part, when under control effects, the troop has an 80% chance to dispel them. This is kind of nuts. I assume that means silences. I assume that means slows. That is a god tier open field ability. I mean, Boudica will be in your starting lineup. 100%, no questions asked. With some other commander, we'll talk about which ones, for the open field, for sure. The final skill as a passive, when attacking troops, so that's not hitting a garrison, not swarming a garrison, but when attacking troops, troops receive healing factor of 800 after using active skills. That is so good for open field. I'm going to talk about that in a second. And archers deal 5% increased damage to infantry. The healing effect can only trigger once every 7 seconds. So basically, once every skill cycle, you'll get a heal. And that heal is so important because if you're not being focused, you're going to sustain your high health because you're going to get your passive heals from this. You're going to reduce the skill damage you take. And if you do start to get low, you get more defense. Now, only 10% march speed on this commander is a little bit low, but honestly, the new Boudica, the Boudica Prime, and yes, it is Boudica Prime, That little P next to her name, which you can see in the picture up over here, that does designate Prime, just like Scipio Prime. She is going to be strongest, I think, if you pair it with another open field commander. I suspect that between Nebu and Isong, and that pairing, by the way, is used by many people, Nebu and Isong. I think you remove Isong, and I think you use Nebu because he gives you 30% defense, he manipulates the enemy rage, and he's got march speed and area of effect damage. I like all of that, personally, better than the Isong. On my restart, I will use Boudica Isong. I'm not saying Boudica Isong is bad. Most people will probably start with it. In fact, I'm going to, on my restart, to make my first really powerful Archer March, and she is going to be so good for that. But other commanders like Cyrus looks really good. I think Gilgamesh would be fine, and you'd be boosting skill damage taken by the target very meaningfully, and you reduce health of the target. All of the archers we have, with the exception of maybe Amanatori, keep her in the garrison. Even Artemisia could be an interesting pairing. She has a self-silence, which, like, does that get removed too? I assume I would keep Amanatori and Artemisia together, but maybe if I wanted to bring a couple Archer Marches, it could be Boudica with Artemisia, and then I guess you could do just like Nebu with Isong or Nebu with Cyrus, as you have been. I don't know. I probably will find some other configuration and spend a little more time to really nail exactly what that would look like. But either way, Boudica is now one of the 3 commanders that I think everybody just getting to Season of Conquest needs to think about. And those commanders, by the way, include, of course, Nevsky, Scipio, and then Boudica Prime. And I think all of them are really good. So where do you want to start? Is it with an archer? Is it with an infantry commander? Or is it with a cav commander? They all have very valuable debuffs. And a part of what I really like about Boudica's debuff here is that it does not overlap with commanders that we already have. So we have defense reductions already. So like Nevsky's defense reduction may not actually overwrite what other defense reductions were in play. Scipio is got a health reduction, which is redundant in some ways, with other ways you could reduce health, like from Ethelfled, for example. But this debuff is very unique. I'm not aware off the top of my head of other active skills that make the target take more skill damage. So this is really, really good. And also strong is Henry V. Now, this is a rally-only commander, from what I can tell. I mean, maybe you could use it in the field, but it is a archer, conquering, and support commander, where I think its main role really is for rallies. Deals direct damage factor to the target 2,300, which seems to be the new standard for what kind of skill damage you deal, and reduces the troops' skill damage taken by 30%. So we're reducing your skill damage that you take by 30%. Very good. I assume that's your own skill damage taken. I assume. The direct damage factor and the skill damage taken reduction scale up linearly with the amount of skills that you put into it. It's the active skill. I mean, you're going to max that first anyways. Continuing, Road to the Empire when attacking strongholds and governors' cities. So this is not for the open field. Troops deal 30% more counterattack damage and have a 10% chance to increase damage taken by the target by 30% for 3 seconds. I mean, this would be very good for swarming a garrison, but also good for a rally, for a multi-rally. I mean, making a target take more all damage is just busted. It's so good. And the counterattack damage is your anti-swarm technology. So 30% counterattack, hopefully, gives this enough sustain, or what do I mean, really tankiness to survive a swarm, but does it? Let's keep going because the rest of the kit needs to support that. Increases archer units' attack by 20%, defense by 20%, and march speed by 20% when you're outside of Alliance territory. That's actually a pretty solid skill for open field as well. For garrison, or I guess rallying really, the 20% march speed, I guess getting to your target faster is relevant, but not particularly. The next skill, archers led by this commander deal 10% more damage. Okay, anytime you get more all damage, it's just gross. That's really good. And when attacked, there's a 10% chance to deal direct damage factor to the target of 800. This is more anti-swarm technology, and quite frankly, I think could be really good with a commander like Nebu as the secondary. And why is that? That is because Nebu has a ton of counterattack when you're rallying as well, and has skill damage that is revenge. It's dealt sort of back to people that are attacking you. So having another commander doing that could be just absolutely disgusting. The skill can only trigger once every 5 seconds. And then the 100 Years War. When a troop reaches 70% of rage, they deal 30% more normal attack damage. Otherwise, they take 20% less normal attack damage. This is more anti-swarm technology. Why do I say that? Because when you are being swarmed, the normal attack damage is really important. Part of the way that they take you down is just by having a lot of people hit you and really working down your health or in the amount of troops you have left before you have a chance to recover or fill the rally fast enough to save it. So this is very important in giving this rally sustain. I think that Gilgamesh would also be a really good pairing, enhancing the skill damage taken by the target. Blood Craving is really good right now with the Xenos that are sort of back in style with the Xeno Flavius Garrison. And, I mean, obviously, the health reduction is really good too, but Gilgamesh also reduces the normal attack damage taken. So between the two of them, I mean, you peak at 50% less normal attack damage taken. That's actually, I mean, if I'm remembering that correctly, that's kind of gross. Like, that is a lot of damage mitigation. I think Gilgamesh or Nebu are likely to be the rally with Henry to try to take down the Xeno with Flavius. I think that's how I pair it. For the open field, I mean, I guess you can use this commander. I actually kind of like this revenge damage in the open field. I like a lot that's on this kit, but let me tell you what's missing is health. You're really missing health. And if we look at the other Archer Commander, Boudica, I think we're still missing health. So we're missing some serious survivability here and tankiness on both of these commanders, but Boudica does have the skill damage taken reduction, which I think is crucial for the open field. So, between these two commanders, I personally will be focused on Boudica because of the iconic equipment and the fact that I don't have an iconic Archer set, even though I have a crit Archer set. I'm just kind of going to let other people focus on Archers, and I'm not going to do Henry V. I'm going to put Boudica in my starting 5 marches, either with Nebu or Cyrus. Both of those seem like really amazing choices. And if you've got any other ideas for combinations that could be really, really good, I definitely want to see them down below in the comments. I will, of course, point out that Boudica with Honda Tadakatsu could be amazing as well. Boudica with, there's going to be so many commander options here, but Mehmed could be good. But again, let me know your thoughts down below. If you enjoyed this video, throw a like on here and subscribe to the channel. My commitment is through the roof, man. I have been up so many hours, and yet here I am. The info just dropped. I don't have any of my typical recording equipment, but we made this video, baby, for you. And honestly, I had a lot of fun doing this. So if you enjoyed it, throw a like on here, subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest Rise of Kingdoms news, and I did all of this in one take with 0 editing. Let's freaking go. Hope you enjoyed the video, and now I'm gonna get some sleep. Take care, everybody.